Alright, here we go again with another one. The discovery of Karl Pilkington. This is part 6. If you haven't already, please check out the previous 5 parts. In my opinion, this is the best Karl Pilkington material ever, in my opinion, because it's just so natural. It's like it's like discovering an animal, you know? It's like discovering a creature in his natural habitat. It's like a documentary. It's amazing. Anyway, Lego.
Yeah?
I'm getting a bit bored now, though. This is what happened in school.
Think of the listeners.
Did really well in infants. Once got to secondary, lost interest.
Was it the breakup between you and Harris?
And Zoe. I'm wondering if, you've spiralled into something there.
Yeah, because it's like all these other, these men of history, they always had sort of things happen in their early childhood, didn't they? Maybe yours is the Zoe Harris dress incident.
Well, let's just refer to it as the Zoe incident.
Yeah.
From now on,
Yeah.
Winston Churchill, the bit I left out in the Hitler story, Hitler was scared of this man.
Yeah.
And I can tell you something else about Winston Churchill.
Go on.
He said he can remember being in the womb. And he was born in a public toilet.
No,
what do you do in your leisure time?
I like, going out for food and that.
For foraging? What do you mean going out for food?
Let's go.
They can have a little hole and go
hunting.
Yeah. This is Karl. He's hungry. He knows he has to get to the greasy spoon by 11. Wow. Wow. Wow.
Many of Karl's close friends have never made it across this road.
There was a zebra crossing installed just for the safety of Karl. Beep, 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 beep. Can I have a bacon butty and... Karl is enjoying his... Wow, but he has to get back.
His girlfriend's out for one as well. She's home with a PlayStation 2.
Wow.
I like little interesting bits, like
sentences.
Atlantic Ocean. It's got 17 quadrillion gallons of water in it.
Right.
Well, that's interesting without having to read a book. And
why is that interesting though? What are you basing that on? When you think of 17 quadrillion,
it's a lot, innit?
What are you imagining?
Just like a big wave. Imagine how much water.
Yeah.
Well, what's your subject then?
His head is perfectly circular. I put a coin on it, and only the ears popped out from behind the coin. Isn't it perfectly round, isn't it?
I mean, when you've been saying I've got a round head, I was a bit like, yeah, everyone has. Stop having a go.
Yeah.
And then I saw this picture last week. I thought, God, he's right.
Can't we just pop it on the XOM website?
I'd rather not.
I'll go on. Just get someone.
Have you seen that man in a jar without a brain?
Sorry, is that a product you can buy?
I can live longer to eat more cheese and beer.
Do you exercise, Karl? Do you do any exercise whatsoever?
I used to go to a gym in town, but it wasn't the sort of the hard work of doing the the stuff. It was just like, it was like 60 quid a month.
Yeah.
I thought, well,
crazy, isn't it?
That's not good. So I just got out of my way to sort of walk everywhere. Do you know what I mean? Instead of jumping on a bus, like a nice day like today, walk into work, or run up the stairs.
You're skinny though.
You run up the stairs.
What? You're really skinny though.
No, but I do eat a lot of like crappy food, so I reckon. I mean, what do they say? When you get to 30, it all just you go mental, don't you?
Yeah, they say that. Play a record. That's the philosophers, isn't it? When you get to 30, you go mental.
No, Descartes.
Yeah, I think so. Yeah. Play a record.
It's where will it lead? Where will it end, Karl? Are you concerned?
I've thought about this a lot.
What will us three look like in the future if they're being, genetically modified beautiful people? What will we be like? How will we be considered in society?
True, yeah. But we've talked about this before, haven't we? About the cloning thing.
Yeah.
That's a bit weird.
Yeah.
But I don't think it matters, because at the end of the day, right, you might look like some other kid, but it's the way you're brought up that will change your features and the way you are, your personality.
If you lie, you get a long nose, don't you?
Well, no, but listen, right, because I remember when we, I was growing up on this estate.
This is gonna be good. Go on.
No, it's not. It's just an example of how this doesn't work.
Go on.
So we don't need to worry, sort of thing.
Sure.
Right?
Okay.
So, growing up on this estate, and there was this woman about 4 houses down, right, who's a bit rough. Alright?
Didn't fancy her.
Oh, God, no. Right, but she had a baby.
But tell me about her first. I'm interested in this woman. Why was she?
It was a very...
So like being a man in a dress.
I mean, I didn't grow up in a posh house or anything, and I'm not saying that if you live in a bit of a rough house, you're a bad person.
What did she look like?
But anyone can clean up.
Looked like Tony Green with a fag on.
They didn't clean up much, right?
Oh.
Which, even if you've not got a lot of money, you can still try and make a place look nice.
Yeah.
Right? But she didn't, and a kid used to take a horse into the house.
Sorry.
Whoa,
Neddy. What do you mean a kid used to take a horse into the house? Where did he get a horse?
Must have nicked it from somewhere. Must have
So you've seen a horse in it? No.
What, is that from outside the saloon round the corner?
Yeah, was it just tied up with a bit of...
Right?
Oh, that's great. Did Big Jake come looking for it?
I'd been out.
Oh. Sorry, let me get this. This was before the lynching stopped or after?
It was, they did this thing at school about raising money for charity, right? For some local charity. And they said you can do anything to raise money, and they came out with all these ideas, and I thought, that's good.
What was the charity?
Well, I don't know, I thought, forget the charity.
Yeah, that's just a good money-making idea. So, you're a charity.
So I asked my mum for some, cause she used to have a lot of flowers around the house.
Sure.
I said, can I just take some snippings off them? And, I'll go and buy some plastic cups. And, got some soil out of the garden, planted the bits of plants in them.
Yeah.
Got a tray.
Yeah.
Had about 25 plants on it, selling them for 25 pence each.
Excellent. Did you sell any?
Yeah, sold loads.
So did you just cut, you didn't just cut them and stick them in the soil?
Yeah, they wouldn't have survived.
Oh.
But I think people sort of thought, well, good on him for trying. But anyway, so I went round to theirs, because I thought their house could do with a bit of colour and stuff.
Yeah.
It's a bit rough. So as I went...
The horse went, thank God for that breakfast. They've been feeding me kitty cat.
So I got up to the door, and they opened the door, and it was one of them houses where no carpet.
Yeah, a horse in the living room.
You know.
We've all been there.
And the horse was walking around the living room.
Oh.
I looked quite happy and everything, because I always say that about animals.
Black Beauty
right?
was on. Yeah.
Well, think about it, right? If you were a horse, where would you rather be? In a little wooden hut with a load of hay? Or in, like, a house with a,
central heating?
3-piece suite and a telly and that?
Telly and that?
No, but I was saying this the other day.
And an Atari.
Right? I was walking through London.
Commodore 64, rubbish.
Exactly.
Walking through London with Suzanne, right?
Yeah.
And you know, like homeless people always have dogs. And she said, oh, I hope she looks after it. I said, that dog is happier than most dogs.
Right.
Because people always walk past and give it a pat on the head.
Yeah.
It's with its owner all the time.
Yeah.
It's out in the open, it's not locked up in a house.
Yeah.
It doesn't
You know what I
eat,
mean?
but other than that...
No, it does eat though, they're always alright. So that's what I was saying, I think this horse was doing alright for itself. Do you know?
Well, not many horses have got their own house.
Exactly.
For a start, yeah.
But anyway, that's
by the by.
Yeah, so anyway, this family, who's a bit, what we were talking about, it was about cloning.
Genetically modified kids and all that stuff, yeah.
Right, now what I'm saying is, you could say, you know, right, Steve, you could have a baby, right? And Ricky could see it and say, God, I want one that looks like that.
Yeah.
Right?
It could happen, Rick.
So...
Come on, work with him.
So you take it to the doctors, and I don't know what they do, they inject it with something or whatever.
Yep, that's how it's done.
Yeah.
And, get a little baby, and there it is, it looks the same. Now the thing is, you separate, you both go off and do your own things.
Yep.
Right? Now, you look at Stephen, you look after your baby.
Yeah.
You treat it well, you give it good food and
I'm a good dad.
all the vitamins and stuff.
Yeah.
Ricky just gives it cheese. Right? So, then it changes its looks, it goes a bit fat. You know, it gets tired easily, and that sort of thing. Now, when this family...
Why am I just feeding a baby cheese?
Right, this family who had a horse in their house.
Yeah.
They had a little baby. And my mum went round and said, you're not going to believe this, but it's a beautiful looking baby. Right?
Yeah.
And I was like, well, you know. And, the weird thing is, it was a good looking kid, but as time went on, they didn't really look after it. And I'm not saying, like, abusing it, but it used to run around, it used to play out till, like, 10 at night.
Yeah.
It used to chase cars.
Right.
It was a bit...
Did it have hooves?
Yeah, no. Chase cars!
Right.
What sort of kid chases cars? Oh, God. Was it called Rover? Did it catch stick?
It's Liam, it was called, right?
Right.
Now, the weird thing is, it was a good-looking kid, but as time went on, and all that, like, not eating properly and its hair was all patchy.
It's not Liam Gallagher, is it?
and chasing cars on that, and it became an ugly kid.
It's definitely Liam Gallagher.
And that's what I'm saying, right? You can clone all you like, but at the end of the day, it's how you brought up.
Brilliant.
Whoa.
Wow. That was a hell of a point.
Yeah.
Well, and the good one, Ozzy Osbourne.
I mean, sorry, but let's go back there. The irony is that is art. That he was an artist, wasn't he? So.
But okay, so you don't like Oscar Wilde, but you prefer Ozzy Osbourne.
Yeah, go on.
Ozzy Osbourne, cracking one this. Funny and educational. I bit a head off a bat the other night. It was like eating a crunchy wrapped in a chamois leather.
Genius.
Oh, you're right, Karl.
I went out with Karl on Thursday night.
Right.
Right. It was one of the most enjoyable nights. We just, went out for about, 5 or 6 pints, a little crawl, and adventures happened around Karl.
Yeah.
And just me sitting talking to him was just incredible. I'm thinking that a competition would be win a pint with Karl.
Yes. That'd be a hell of a
just
gig.
have to go for a pint and they can ask him anything they want.
Yeah.
He's just great. Look at him looking at us. What's the matter with you?
It's just that before, you were like, no, this is good for you. But
What?
now it's turning into a game.
At your expense.
Yeah.
Has it only just dawned on you?
Karl, well, I'm joking.
But Steve, right, do you remember that story about 3 or 4 years ago, where there was some bloke in the army, he went away to somewhere, Vietnam or whatever, he was messing about in the woods,
Shouldn't he have been fighting?
whatever,
Yeah.
right, and he walked through some lake, and I think he'd cut his toe or something on something, and some worm of some sort crawled in the gash,
Yeah.
and it was in his body, and the doctor said, we've got to get this out of your body. So what they did was, they said, right, the thinnest part or something of your body that things can crawl through is on the top of your head. So they wrapped
Where the skull is.
So they wrapped some bacon.
No, they didn't!
They did. That's
oh,
that
right.
thing.
So
Everyone.
he's gone in by the toe. So what we do is, I'll tell you what, that worm's probably heading straight for the head. We'll put a bit of bacon on it. The thinnest part of the body is the skull. Of course it's not the thinnest part of the body. It's where your brain case is, isn't it? It's the skull.
There was a reason for it, and it was like they stuck some bacon on his head. And
As ever, the vital piece of information, i.e. the reason, Karl seems to have forgotten.
because the worm was in his body, and they said everyone likes the smell of bacon.
Including
even a
worms.
Even a Vietnamese lake worm. They
Oh, they love
Remember last
bacon.
week? Remember
strokes. Hard to explain. Like Karl, really.
Yes.
So, Karl, concentrate.
Yeah, go on.
So, we'll leave the worm with the bacon wrapped around the head, shall we?
Well, if you're ever caught in the jungle,
Yeah. Always carry some.
bit of Danish.
There must be one of them where you did fall on your head. This is the one I'm waiting for. There's got to be one. That would explain so much.
Yeah.
I nearly broke my back
Jeez.
once. My dad said I better can't kick me out. And I said I better can. And
I don't remember this. You didn't tell me this one.
No,
I bet it can, what?
I was in the garden summer's day, and it was that era when like doing kung fu and all that was really popular.
Sure.
And I was like messing about in the garden, punching the tree and stuff. And my dad said,
Oh, what a kid he must have been.
my dad said, I bet you can't kick your height.
Kick your height? What,
yeah.
you mean kick as high as yourself?
Yeah, so I must have been like 5 foot or something
Yeah.
then. And I said, of course I can. So I bet you can't. But instead of doing it on the grass, I did it on like the concrete bit. Kicked it, actually did it. I went, there you go. But didn't like get my foot down quick enough and land on
You
my back.
paused to say, there, I've done it.
Yeah.
As opposed to putting your foot back on the ground.
And landed on my back, and I'd still get back trouble now.
Do you? Karl, always check your balls.
Do you
I
check
don't like the
yours?
feel. Why don't you like the feel of your own balls?
They just, I mean, you know that I don't like bodies anyway.
Right.
Do you know what I mean? It worries me a bit that you've got all that going on in your body, right, and your skin's keeping it all in place.
Okay, we'll stop here. You know, Stephen actually got it. He said the key piece of information Karl leaves out. This is it. This is what makes his anecdotes ridiculous. It's like you can just tell us something insane like that and just without any explanation, without any background to it. We're just supposed to believe? My God. Oh, this is nuts. Okay. I think maybe there's one more part left in this one. After that, I'll probably do all the insults. Karl versus Steve. Looking forward to that one. Bye.